Good evening, everyone. It is 5 o'clock on Monday, September 8th, 2025, and I'm calling the regular Wausau School District Board of Education meeting to order. Ms. Peck, would you call attendance?
Sarah Brock. Here. John Kreischer. Nick Kersher. Pat McKee.
Yes. Jennifer
Paoli. Here. Corey Sillers.
Here.
Lance Trollope.
Here.
Jim Boucher.
Here. Please stand with me to recite the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. It is the mission of the Wausau School District to advance student learning, achievement, and success. Agenda item number 5, the public and students' comment. Do we have some? Okay.
I would like to speak. I just didn't know we had a sign up there.
Do you want to come sign up for speakers?
Yes.
You're okay. Okay, as we're waiting, I will read this statement. With that, I would like to recognize speakers and students for public comment. The board recognizes the value of public comment on educational issues and the importance of allowing members of the public to express themselves on district matters. The president reserves the right to stop speakers from continuing if names, positions, or referred to or inappropriate language is used. Please identify yourself by name and state your address. Each statement made by a participant shall be limited to 3 minutes in duration. Ms. Peck will identify the timeline for us.
Perfect. My name's Deb Alvey. I live at 233-215 County Road O in Wausau, and I'm also a teacher at Red Mountain Elementary School and the vice president of the Wausau Education Association. So I'm just here to say welcome back. We're already well into the swing of things at school, at least it seems like it. I teach kindergarten, so it's a little slow going at times. As part of WEA, we want to try and get here as often as we can to give you a little update of things that we're doing in our hopes to better things in our district for teachers. So we were part of our new teacher hire breakfast. We got some raffle prizes again for them, which was fun. We got a lot of different goodie bags from area businesses, lots of local shops that donated things that we were able to pass up to all our new hires. We've been trying to meet with them individually in their home schools as well to see if there's anything we can do to help them out. We had a back to school social that was open to all teachers. Last week one night, and that was a lot of fun, just trying to get out and enjoy some camaraderie. We look forward to working with central office this year and meeting with them, trying to find ways that we can help each other out, and as well as just continuing to work on Act 20 and all the things that go with that, helping all of our teachers settle into their new school buildings, and with the consolidation, as you all know, that has been a lot, but we're working through it, and we're happy to get back at it. Have a good day.
Thank you very much for the update. Appreciate that. Thank you. All righty. Mr. Krieger, you have the microphone.
Well, my 3 minutes is going to be a little less upbeat than the last one. As you all know, there's been an investigation of the Wausau School District in regards to iPad user agreements and technology agreements. Originally, the attorney made it very clear that they were just only investigating just the iPad user agreement and whether that was being followed or adhered to or not. I have an email from the attorney right here if any of you'd like to see it. Eventually, that became, Mr. Krieger, you're not allowed to speak to administrative staff, any of them, for any reasons or any concerns. I had concerns over principals while spying on me during parent-teacher conferences and nobody would listen to me. Nobody would take the time to listen to me. It all got ignored. I asked the attorney, under what authority did you have to change this investigation to? Mr. Krieger, you're not allowed to speak to any administrative staff. In fact, they're told not to respond to you. Well, who gave you this authority to do this? Because this seems pretty extreme. Here's an email of me asking the question. You're welcome to look at it. There's no response to this. This investigation started in January. These emails are from April, and in May I actually reached out to Mr. Boucher, left a voicemail with him. Here's an email from Monday, May 12th, asking him to give me some insight into this as to whether or not this is legit in this investigation. Who gave the authority so I can't communicate with anybody? No response. Another email Wednesday, May 28th to James Boucher asking again if he could give me some insight or some help. No response. I sent an email to the entire board on May 28th asking the same questions. No response from anybody. Monday, August 11th, another email to the entire board. Not a response from anybody. I waited all school year and got ignored. I was not allowed to communicate with the Wausau School District administrative staff in regards to anything. I have complaints about a principal that was in fact spying on me during parent-teacher conferences and was asked to by administrative staff. I have the emails that show that through a Freedom of Information request here. I have confirmation from the Director of Elementary Education that they know that the principal was asked to sit in on my conversation. I also have an email from the principal stating to Kale Bushman that she was still monitoring me, but discreetly. Nobody wanted to listen to me about this, and I got shut down by the entire school and the board.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Anybody like these?
Thank you. Okay, moving right along, agenda item 6. Approve the consent agenda. Appointments, additional staff, replacement staff, contract increases, separations, resignations, contract decreases, terminations, leaves of absence, retirements, minutes from the special session of August 11th, 2025, regular session of August 11th, 2025, and the special session of August 25, 2025. Payment of bills and budget status and investment report. Donations to the district come from Cooley Cards and Gaming, New Hope Community Church, North Central Wisconsin Invisible, and Delta Dental. Before we go to the motion, because we believe in the Roberts Rules of Order, and when a mistake of order is made, we always believe in rectifying the mistake. So I move to amend the minutes of the August 25th, 2025 meeting to show that following the closed session, the body reconvened in open session and then adjourned.
So moved.
Second.
I will follow up with a comment. The comment was my mistake, and I wanted to follow up to make sure we made an amendment to that. I did not go back into reconvene into open. I missed that and went right to adjournment. So, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I'm seeking a motion to approve the consent agenda with great gratitude for donations to the district.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Old and recurring business, legal expenses summary for 2024-25. At the August Education Operations Committee meeting, Josh Fagut, Assistant Superintendent of Operations, presented a summary report presenting all legal counsel expenses incurred during 2024-25. The report is broken down by law firm and by type of legal advice sought. This is a written report that requires no action, but was all information. Agenda item 7A2, set annual meeting date and location. Administration asks the board to approve a date, time, and location for the budget hearing and annual meeting. This will allow all notices and timelines to be met for an annual meeting between May 15th and October 31st, pursuant to statute 120.081A. I'm seeking a motion to approve Monday, September 22nd, 2025 as the date for the 2025-26 budget hearing and annual meeting. The meeting will be held at 6 p.m. in the Nicholson Boardroom at the Longfellow Administration Center, beginning with the budget hearing, followed by the annual meeting.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Agenda item 7A3, prior to October 1st, only equalized valuations from municipalities are available. In order to project property value changes by school district, an assumption must be made that all property values in any given municipality change in a uniform manner. With this assumption, the district's property value is projected to increase 8.98% for 2025-26 mill rate calculation purposes. Certified property value will not be available until October 1st. The given projected property value will be used for the initial budget and during the annual meeting. Information for all of us. Agenda item 7A4, recommendation for 2025-26 budget. At the August Education Operations Committee meeting, Assistant Superintendent of Operations Josh Fagut offered the 2025-26 budget booklet for initial review. Contained in the publication is a preliminary budget which the board is being asked to recommend for use at the budget hearing and annual meeting. I'm seeking a motion for approval of the preliminary 2025-26 general fund budget of $117,366,124 for expenses and $117,366,124 for revenue for presentation at the annual meeting and budget hearing.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. 7A5, recommendation for 2025-2026 tax levy. Contained in the presentation of the 2025-26 budget booklet is the corresponding tax levy to support the budget. Once approved, this levy will be presented at the budget hearing and annual meeting. I'm seeking a motion to recommend to the Board of Education a projected tax levy of $44,385,217 for presentation at the annual meeting and budget hearing.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Agenda item 8A. Director of Elementary Education, Julie Schell, will give a short summary update on the elementary progress reporting structures and revisions for the 25-26 school year, as well as the status of Act 20 implementation. This is informational only. There you go, Julie.
Great. Good evening, everyone. Just a quick update from last spring when I was here to give you a little bit of information on these two topics. Again, just revisiting the why we examined elementary progress reporting once again. There was some unfinished work from a committee that began prior to 2020, and we were coming back to some of that unfinished work pre-COVID around feedback around the report card, the elementary report card. So we were looking at potential for semester grading at the elementary. We're also looking at revisions to our elementary content standards, what it is that we're reporting to parents on. We've had a lot of new state standard revisions come out, and we hadn't revisited those on the report card in some time. And the third piece we were looking at was taking a look at our successful learner behaviors and aligning those with our social emotional learning competencies that have come out from the state of Wisconsin. So there was some unfinished work, and those were the three pieces that we were looking at. On the next slide. So where we're at with our current status with elementary progress reporting, in June, we provided a staff survey to both, or staff and parent survey, and it reflected a very positive response to our semester grading pilot that we did the second semester of last year, where we looked at the structure of giving a written progress report to parents at the end of first and second semester, which is technically second and fourth quarter, and then doing a face-to-face parent-teacher conference at first and third quarters. We had 138 teacher responses, 145 parent responses, and as a result of those, we took a couple of actions. We're continuing this year with the semester written reporting structure and parent-teacher conferences with a face-to-face meeting with teachers and parents at first and third quarter. And we also received a lot of feedback around the electronic elementary report card, and that paper copies are a much better option, where we're noticing that families just either weren't sure how to access that through Infinite Campus or didn't feel like they were receiving it. So we will be doing both avenues this year, both the electronic version in Infinite Campus as well as sending paper copies home to ensure that all of our families are receiving that written report card from their teachers. In terms of where we're at with current status with the elementary report card revisions, we had lots of teacher feedback here. We had leadership teams. We have an English language arts and math leadership team that functions throughout the school year, similar to departments at the secondary schools. We have our SEL coaches that meet regularly to support all of our social emotional learning opportunities and initiatives in the buildings. We had a separate report card committee, and then representatives from each one of our Encore teams who work together in the spring and in the summer to complete all of the standards revisions and language changes on the elementary report card. So we were really pleased and thankful to all of the teachers who put in the time and effort to be part of this initiative. And we launched a new kind of draft elementary progress report on Tuesday, August 26th during our in-service days to staff. So they were able to see some of the content revisions. We're working on the actual Infinite Campus report card and what that looks like. It should be done within the next couple of weeks to actually show what that looks like. But one of the biggest changes that's important for all of us to take note of is in terms of when we think about those content standards that we report to parents on, we were reporting in a 1, 2, 3, 4 format prior, with 4 being exceeds the standard. And we have decided to change this year with teacher feedback and what a lot of other districts are doing around the state. The actual goal, the end in mind for us, is for a child to meet that end of the year grade level standard. And we were finding that when we had a 4 on the report card, it was hard for parents to understand. So what does a 4 mean? It was difficult for teachers to evidence always what a 4 looked like when really the goal was to meet the standard. And it was really difficult for students to understand that even if they received a 3, they were where we wanted them to be. And they always felt like a 4 is where we really wanted them to be. So we went with a 1, 2, 3 this year, which will be different for parents and teachers, with the opportunity always for open comments. There's an open comment section under each one of the reporting areas on the elementary report card, so that our students who are exceeding the standard by either their teacher, or if they're a gifted and talented student, will still have the opportunity to have comments made for the parents to understand where they're at. And we're hoping that this meets a need that came through from all the feedback from parents and staff around the reporting format. So that changed, and also under our successful, what used to be called our successful learner behaviors, kind of our life skills section. That changed to strength, that maybe what's listed there is a strength of the student, either progressing as a student or an area for growth. So we always had 2 reporting systems, and we still do just have 2 reporting rubrics. But those have changed for this year, and we'll be sending out communication to parents and families and utilizing first quarter parent-teacher conferences to strengthen that partnership and that understanding for parents on that change. In terms of Act 20 updates, we feel a little bit better this year. Last year was a building year, and lots of structures and systems put in place to be compliant with all of the Act 20 requirements. So this year we are really just looking at the structures are there for students who are in need of a personal reading plan, students who fall within certain levels on the Ames Web State Screener. And so those structures have been put into place, and now it's really building capacity, continuing to build capacity with our teachers and having those supportive structures for students. What that looks like in terms of instruction for those students. What do those targeted skills look like when a teacher is having small group instruction, potentially one-on-one instruction, and how do we utilize our Title I, our multilingual, and our special education teachers in the playing field with our classroom teachers to support all of our students. So that's where the support is continuing this year in our Wausau Continuum of Supports model. We also have gotten really great at utilizing EduClimber and some of the forms in EduClimber to create some efficiencies for our teachers that are still communications to parents that they can understand and that are getting to them in a timely fashion. Act 20 has a lot of deadlines around when and how we communicate with parents, which makes it difficult if you don't have a streamlined system. So we've used EduClimber to do so. The national norms changed. Ames Web is a nationwide screening company, and it was time for them to update their national norms. So they did do that nationwide, and our teachers will be adjusting now to what those new norms will tell us in terms of comparison to last year. So when we're here looking at the AGR scores in January and what that looks like, we may have to make some adjustments in interpretation because the Ames Web national norms changed. They are finding that nationwide there was a shift in how those proficiency categories and thresholds should be provided for states. In terms of some of the training requirements, we had 100% of our existing 24-25 administrators and leaders who were required to be trained around the Act 20 literacy components were trained. We have 2 new administrators this year with our charter schools going through the training right now, so we're compliant there. And in terms of the teacher training requirements, there's also a heavy lift for teachers and in the timelines that we needed to have those completed. 92% of our required classroom, multilingual, Title I, and special education teachers completed the Cox Campus Literacy Foundational Skills Training, which was 206 out of 224 between spring and over the summer, and the remaining will be completed by November 14th this year. So we'll be in compliance with all of that training and hoping, that was a huge lift, it's about 32 to 35 hours of training, that those skills now can be part of what we can support teachers in and what does that look like in my classroom. They're armed with lots of new information around the science of reading and what that looks like to work with students on emerging literacy skills, and now it will be helping them take that knowledge and put it into application and practice so they feel comfortable. So in terms of next steps, again, we're continuing to build that teacher capacity, as I mentioned, around how to support all of those targeted needs. Act 20 requires us to really drill down to some really finite skills and provide supports for students in the science of reading at those early ages in elementary school and even through 5th grade. So we're implementing that. How do we utilize our continuous improvement plans, our SIP plans, to support teachers and to support the growth and outcomes of our students in those areas? We need to do some continual professional development around the report card changes for staff. The big lifts will be in the social emotional learning, the life skills piece, and our ELA piece are the two pieces that really changed a little bit more significantly than the other areas. So we need to support our teachers on what does that look like, what kind of evidence is available to them through our core resources and through their own knowledge and expertise that they each have when they're working with their students. We need to keep communicating with parents on the revisions on the written report card this fall, so that they feel like they have a good knowledge and understanding of the changes that will be coming home in January around the written report card piece, and having great conferences and feeling really prepared to share with parents how their students are doing in November at first quarter conferences. And then again, collecting feedback. How's it going? We've had some changes. We want to check in with teachers and parents on do they feel like we're giving them information that's valuable for them on the progress of their kids. And for teachers, how's it going? You know, are we providing you with the right levels of supports? Do you feel like you're reporting out on things that are priority standards and things that parents want to know? And do you feel confident and have the tools to do so? So that's a quick and dirty, fast update on both report card revisions and Act 20, if anyone has any questions.
Questions from the board?
Was this professional development, was this the one that teachers were allowed to do early to then have a future day off?
The Cox campus training?
Yeah,
Yes,
okay.
Lance.
So just wanted to say I've received a lot of really positive feedback for that, and I just think it's a good example of like a budget neutral way to sort of,
Yeah, great.
give some work-life improvement to teachers. And of course, the teachers that didn't want to do it ahead of time over the summer
Yep.
are free to do it on that professional growth day.
Absolutely.
And so that's all an option. Now, we can't do it all the time. A lot of our
Right.
professional development's in person, but
Great.
it's been very positively received.
Super. Great.
Any other questions? I have not a question, but I'm just going to bring to you some of the concerns that I heard at the Wisconsin Association of School Boards meeting this past weekend. It seemed that a lot of districts have really struggled with a lot of things. And I kept on thinking, I don't think we're having those kinds of problems. I think we have a lot of things in place to begin with for Act 20, correct?
Yeah.
EduClimber is a heck of a software in order to utilize that so so teachers can work with their PLCs and work productively for the benefit of the student and the family. Have we, this might be just, you stated it, but I'm going to ask the question anyway. Are we communicating well enough from what you're hearing from the teachers and from the parents? Do we feel comfortable with where we're at? We always do a self-criticism of ourselves. Where are we at with that from your point of view? What do you think?
Well, we have a great team, between our ELA coordinators, Sandy Lewins and Melanie Hansen last year, and Lindsay Ludholtz, our EMLSS, now our Wausau Continuum of Supports coordinator, and all of our team, our math coordinators and our tech integration specialists. That team worked really, really hard to implement the have-tos, the structures that have to be put in place, especially our ELA coordinators with Act 20. Kudos to them, because they put together all of those structures and systems for staff, did all of the training around Ames Web. Of course, we had, some detours along the way. It was challenging. Last year was a very challenging year for our principals pushing out all that information and for our teachers to absorb all of that information. So it was a lot of work, and we certainly had some challenges during that. But I think overall, we were on top of things. We were going to all of the meetings, the listservs, the webinars. So we were very fortunate to have a team that was very motivated to provide our teachers with the best information that we could with when we were getting it, because things were coming out very last minute sometimes, and we were needing to do some really fast training. But I feel good about where we are now. I think our structures are in place, and now it's just the supporting teachers with, okay, now I have all these structures. I know how to write personal reading plans. I know what what targeted needs my students have. How do I manage all of that in a classroom? Do I have all the tools and all the new Cox Campus training? So I think there's still work to go, but I feel really good about where we're at in terms of the structures and the path. The path is there. Now it's just working our way down the path.
Really appreciate that, Julie, and appreciate the knowledge you're giving us about how things have happened, because of what I had heard at the meeting. It was like everybody was in disarray, and I'm saying, I haven't heard anything like that. To know that we're on top of it, and yet we're still critiquing ourselves and where we're at, I think is a positive, that we're not just accepting what we're doing, but we're also open for comments from the parents, from
Absolutely.
the students, and obviously our teachers giving that to you. So I didn't mean to get on a soapbox or anything, but I just wanted to let everyone know that that was a big topic with a lot of districts as this was implemented last year coming forward, and some are really struggling at this point in time. So kudos to you, and we greatly appreciate what you've been doing. Thank you. Agenda item 8B, Nexus update. Nexus and district staff will present on construction updates along with budget considerations and possible next steps. Josh, did you want to be involved with this? Or?
I don't think they need me, but I just want to
I don't want to put you on the hot seat or anything, but I thought, yeah, you've been in the middle of all of this as well. Yeah. I hate to have to yell across the room for you, so thank you. Appreciate it. Gentlemen, go ahead.
Well, a lot of this, what you're going to see is building on last meeting's discussions and is repetitive. We wanted to kind of bring you along on basically what's under design right now, what we're asking for approval tonight to move forward with. But the slide you see up there right now is, again, the projects approved for the move forward schools at Franklin, John Marshall, Lincoln, and Rib Mountain. Those are currently, that design process is taking place right now and moving forward for currently a December issuance. This budget update that's now up there is the exact same numbers that you saw last time, again, showing the remaining budgets for the projects under design, as well as the bid underage, remaining referendum allocated costs from the closed schools, which is $4.6 million, and then additional potential resources for the remaining referendum contingency. It was basically a month ago, it was about $1 million. It's probably maybe $50,000 less than that right now. We'd have to just, we update that about every 2 months. Now that all of the projects are pretty much wrapped up for the summer, we can kind of get a final accounting of that. And then the remaining district project budgets of $4.5 million, roughly 4.495, and then some mass communication dollars that Ryan has been working on to assemble district-wide that are included there. That totals up to $7.2 million for a total of $11.9 million of additional remaining resources under the referendum funding stream. What we talked about, the board had asked us to come back with some options on how that might be spent, looking at the report that was done by CISA 10, as well as the previous information that we put together, and kind of blending the two together along with what is perceived as the most current priorities that we could move forward on and get done next summer. And we came up with the list. It's shown a little bit differently this time than last time. There was a little bit of a single school investment and a multi-school investment. It did involve the same items, Marshall and Franklin. We just put them under each school. We rearranged them so they'd be by each school, so it's more clear now that more discussions had taken place. And so basically at Marshall, we're recommending that the HVAC upgrade takes place, adding air conditioning, upgrading the lighting to LED, obviously the ceiling replacements that has to happen to accommodate that work, and then a partial roofing replacement of the roof that has exceeded its useful life. At Franklin, again, HVAC upgrades, replacing the older equipment, adding air conditioning, roofing as well, and then LED lighting and ceiling replacement. So kind of a consistent approach at both of the schools, Marshall and Franklin. There's some additional projects outside of the referendum that were talked about last time that we did take a look at budgeting. for today's dollars, as well as including some of the components that were missing from some of the previous studies, that being professional services, contingencies, things like that. What we did is we took a look at the run rate and the bids as they've been coming in for your district right now, and then applying those to the square footage, as well as some of the additional items, like there's 20 skylights over there that Ryan wanted to have removed, and replacement of a lot of the roof drains, which are plugged in, undersized in some areas, and then some HVAC replacement. That's at Riverview. They do get integrated hand in hand because the ductwork, the large ductwork, is up on top of the roof, and it's integrated into the roofing, so they do go hand in hand. And then there was also the West Chiller project that was brought up. Did you want to talk anything about those previous projects?
Well, and regarding Riverview, and I did reach out to CIS-10, who did our assessment, and talk through some of that also. And their task when they put that together was a little bit different than the numbers that we ran through. We have some updated complete tear-offs from a recent project. And after talking to CIS-10 also, the complexity of the Riverview job, and we'll get into that when we start designing that, but the complexities of how that's going to be phased and how we can make sure it's done, and the time frame that we have. Sitting here today, it's middle of September, to go after that project makes us a little nervous. And I talked to my maintenance technicians and so forth about each one of the buildings, and it's hard to put what is the building what's the building that's going to fail? But we are in a good position going forward. We have 3 schools moving forward now, and we have a good opportunity to use referendum money to bring them up to date. So that is one of the reasons why we're coming for the recommendation of moving forward with Marshall and Franklin. But I first probably should open that up to any questions you may have.
Are there any questions?
Yeah. Just a couple items, right? So if the Riverview timeline is going to be a problem for next summer, and I thought some of that had to do with like when school got out, like what is going to make the following summer that much more palatable?
Because we can start working towards design, the goal would be to have an earlier bid date, to be able to have the design together and have an earlier bid date, to get the contractors more time to plan for the scheduling and the phasing. That's the hard part about Riverview. It's hard to figure out how that's all going to come together, because all the roof, everything has to come. We can't phase anything. It's either everything's got to come off, materials got to be ordered. The contractors have to have it in their schedule to do the project. They have to be in line to do it, and everything has to fall in place. And as you get later on with, by the time we get into bidding, it probably would be July or January, potentially ordering equipment, so forth. So that's the reasoning, kind of the reasoning behind it. We just don't know how what all has to be done in that project to try pushing forward and doing it as a goal to do it in 26.
Okay, and I don't know why it just strikes me as odd, given all of the intel that we have on that building, and frankly all the other buildings, and the experience of all these referendum work, that we can't effectively plan and execute that one for next summer. But that aside, who is involved with that design work? Is that something Nexus is involved in, or are you doing that one separately?
On Riverview?
Yeah.
Right now I currently have Dynamic doing the design, working on design on that.
Okay.
On that HVAC system.
No, we're not involved. Nexus isn't involved.
So then of that 10.5 million that you guys are recommending, what portion of that becomes Nexus fees for that design and execution of that work?
If you want to go back a couple slides to the 10.4 that we're recommending,
Yeah.
That would be, it would be what our contract pointed out. It would be based on the contractual fees that were negotiated. That would be consistent with the referendum fees.
But does anybody know what those fees are? I'm trying to figure out, if we didn't do this right now, and I know that there was a issue over who designed what previously on some other stuff, how much more would that give us if we didn't have to consider your fees?
I don't have those numbers. That would be in the, you'd have to look at that in the contract. But you would still have to design it, if you didn't move forward, if you did the work in the future, obviously.
No, and yeah, I totally understand. I'm just trying to see how much more.
Josh, would you have any knowledge of that?
You can follow up later.
So
Yeah.
there's no fees in the 10.5?
No, that's all inclusive. with the
All
fees in
inclusive.
it.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's everything.
All right.
Yeah. Yep. That's project cost.
Okay.
We can probably have a follow-up on that for you.
Yeah, that's fine.
Other questions from the board?
So using our 11.921 and our 10.514, we have a difference of 1.406.
Not quite that 1.5.
No,
The chiller.
no, not quite. You got an extra 100 laying around in your other account to get the chiller handled, or?
That's what you were thinking about, huh?
So you're asking how we're gonna pay for the chiller?
Well, I'm curious to what would the next things on the list be with the 1.4?
Yeah.
If it isn't gonna get prioritized to the chiller? With everything you know right now. Any idea?
There's 1.5 remaining.
Well, there isn't. It's 1.406. So you need 94,000
Yeah. To complete the chiller.
to complete the chiller.
Yeah, and I have budgeted a portion of that, and Josh and I have talked about different ways of paying for that, whether we we take money out of 46, and I just roll that over and pay that back out of my capital or operations or one of my other funds. There's after the building sale, the money that we receive from the building sales as a potential resource and another source of funding. So I think we'll figure that out. But I don't know exactly today where that's going to come from.
Follow-up? Any other questions?
Can I just add on to that?
Go ahead.
We've had discussions with this as well, that even with the recommendation that we have, we still have needs throughout our buildings that we're going to have to manage in some capacity to figure out how we're going to solve those as well. So this doesn't make everything go away, but we think this is the best use of our funds right now with where we're at.
The things I had brought up at the last meeting, I brought up about that I felt Marshall should have more of a longer range plan and such because of my opinion about the building and the learning environment for the students. But since then, I'm much less against doing these two projects for a multitude of reasons. And mostly, it kind of comes, one reason is that this is the plan that some of the members of this board had approved with the previous administration, and I can't do anything about that plan. And this is part of finishing that plan out, and when we look at the next thing, whether that's in 5 years, we'll come up with a better plan and maybe meet needs in a more effective way, at least from my perspective, if I'm around still or not onto greener pastures with something else. So I don't want, at this point, the best thing for the buildings and the students and for the community is to finish out what was approved.
Yeah, I mean, I would just add two things. A, there are no greener pastures than here. B, the plan that we had approved previously, we've certainly been amenable and have many times altered that plan based on need. And I think that your last comment is actually what's appropriate. I still think that this is the best plan for the students and for the staff and the community. So it's not, I don't want you to think that, it's your opinion that you should do something different, but we're not going to because of, previous commitments. I would have no issue changing direction if there was a compelling reason to do so. I just haven't seen it here.
Yeah, because there wasn't any plan that specifically said to do this. The referendum plan was to improve the building.
Sure.
So we could try to pigeonhole Riverview into that same plan too.
But then
Riverview would qualify for it. I just for the reasons they've outlined, it sounds like
Right.
it makes more sense to hold off on that one.
Yeah, I have to agree with Ryan's assessment, and it's the wait. Otherwise, we're spending money in one spot, and then we can't complete either one of the other projects even. So getting two things done and improving two buildings that the community said we're keeping, then that's what we need to do.
Well, you're also asking good questions, and the fact that that's the importance of a 5-year plan, 10-year plan, how we're going to be moving down the road, what's going to line up, what's not going to line up. And I think you're able at this point, with this administration, to be able to put things together for us so that we can approve that as it moves forward more methodically than previously.
I mean, absent of some miraculous revenue windfall, I mean, realistically, the only way a lot of these other things are going to get done is if we are successful in passing a referendum.
Right.
So, and whether that's in the spring of 26, I guess it would be already. So that's something to start considering and communicating with the community, I think, as a whole.
I agree, Pat. I agree. Any other comments? Any other follow-up? If not, I'm going to put the motion on the table. I'm seeking a motion to move to implement priority up at Marshall and Franklin using $10,514,500 in remaining 2022 referendum funds, construction plan for summer of 2026.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Thank you. Agenda item 8C1, Education Operations Committee meeting met and approved a list of legal firms. The presented summary lists the legal firms the district makes use of for a variety of necessary legal needs. I'm seeking a motion to approve the attached list of law firms the board and the district shall access for legal services deemed necessary by the superintendent of schools or his or her designee, and I will just simply say his designee.
So, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Agenda item 8C2, Girls Golf Co-op renewal. At the August Education Operations Committee meeting, John Tomsky presented the Wausau East and Wausau West Girls Golf Co-op renewal application. I'm seeking a motion for approval of the Girls Golf Co-op between Wausau East and Wausau West.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Professional Growth and Development Report. Any board members have anything to add for this month for the better of the cause? Anything that took place? If not, legislative liaison, Mr. Sillers, do you have anything legislatively?
I know that legislature is now back in session, holding committee meetings and conducting business. I don't know that I have no update on anything that's school related that might be on their agendas at this time.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much. It's going to be busy when they do get back.
Yes.
I'm sure of that. Superintendent Mr. Bushman, do you have any comments?
I do have a few. First, I'd just like to start off by giving a special thanks to Jane Roosh for those who aren't here tonight who are here noticing Jane's not. As most folks know, Jane has stepped down from the board so she could help care for her mother. With this additional responsibility, Jane just didn't feel that she could commit the time and energy she needed to be on the board. So she resigned her position. Jane was an active member of our school board for 16 years. We thank her for her commitment and years of service to the district and her advocacy for students and for Wausau. We wish her only the best moving forward.
And as president elected by this board, I will say we will greatly miss her, and we greatly appreciate all the work that she has put in the 16 years of dedication to the Wausau School District, and we thank her for that.
A couple other comments, just busing situation. I think it's important to recognize and acknowledge that we've had some struggles with with busing that has occurred at the start of the school year. We've had multiple contacts with first student leadership in order to clearly communicate our frustrations and to seek to provide solutions and increase services. First student has submitted a plan to us to include action steps to resolve these concerns that have been addressed. We certainly apologize to our families, and we look forward to an increase in improvement of services. Two more messages, I'll make them quick. Just a quick update on building sales, where we're at right now. Hawthorne Hills officially has been sold. Hewitt, Texas is getting close. Their closing date will be early next week. And Grant Elementary has a closing date set for early October. Our team will be bringing to the board a presentation when they're all sold to kind of give the update of appraisals, price sales, all those different things, so you guys have more information. So look forward to that coming up in the near future. Last one is I have heard many positive comments from the start of the school year from our teaching staff. Teachers have commented that they have felt prepared and ready for an amazing school year. Today, we had Governor Evers had come to Wausau East. He had an opportunity to be in one of our English classes, in one of our art classes, and perhaps he was lucky to be in Joe Stashik's vet science class. In his vet science class, Governor Evers had an opportunity to take vital statistics on live goats, which probably is the first time a governor has done that. So he was certainly impressed by our school and by our students, which I am as well. So looking forward to a great year. That is it for me.
Tremendous. I'd reference the written board member liaison district activity report and ask that this report be entered into the official record. Thank you. I have a request for a closed session pursuant to state statutes, preliminary discussion regarding potential litigation over contracts. I'm seeking a motion to enter closed session.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Sarah Brock,
Yes.
Pat McKee,
Yes.
Jennifer Paoli, Corey Sillers,
Yes.
Lance Trollope,
Yes.
Jim Boucher.
Yes.